welcome to our first property market update for 2026, and we are here in the Swan on the High Street in Tarpley, Phil.
We are indeed, nice and local, lovely spot. I would say a lovely day, but it's not quite. It's people going past in umbrellas. That's what we're getting in January this year. We had a bit of snow the other week, didn't we? Is it too late in the year to say Happy New Year to everyone?
Say Happy New Year for
Happy New Year to everybody. Yes, we wanted to come back and let you know what's been going on with the market since we've been away and over the Christmas break and things, and it's been a good start to the year, hasn't it, Ian?
It has, yeah. So we had the traditional Christmas slowdown, where people are obviously thinking about Christmas and not moving house on the whole. And we saw that again this year. So sort of early, mid-December, things really quietened down. And it's quite nice, really, when you're in this industry, because you get that period with your family and friends, don't you? And time to enjoy the festivities.
It's that natural reset, isn't it, for the end of the year and getting ready to hit the new year afresh. And that's what the market's reflected that too. So end of last year, like we said, it did get a bit quieter. That's traditionally what happens anyway. But coupled with that sort of that post-budget reaction and things, everybody was sort of on hold a little bit.
Yeah.
But we've seen a real burst of energy coming into January, and the numbers that we've looked into back that up completely. So the biggest one that I'm looking at is that in the last month, since December, now into January, nationally, the house prices have increased 2.8%, which is a really big jump in terms of compared to the average house price across the country. That is more than 10 grand added to the value of your home, on average this is, just in the last month. Now, to give that a bit of context, that's not just because house prices are going crazy right now. That's in contrast to the fact that there was that dip in December. But just to, again, talk about why this is such a big increase and give context to that, it's the biggest January rise in Rightmove's 25-year history. Month to month, going from December into January, this 2.8% increase nationally.
Huge. Yeah, it's also the biggest monthly increase since 2015. So, I mean, two ways of looking at that there, really, to put it into context, really show what a great start it's been. We really noticed, didn't we, Phil, a drop-off in things leading up to the budget.
Yes, yeah.
And I think we reported that in our last update to you. And that's contributed to the rise that we've seen. But it really, fantastic start to the year. And we'll come on to the sort of numbers that we've been seeing at Stories and how that's reflected in the local market for you as well. I mean, I think it's important to not get too carried away.
Yeah, so whilst we've had this big jump month on month from December into January, actually, January compared to this time last year, it is only 0.5% higher. So yes, it's a massive jump from December into January, but actually compared to last year, it's only a smaller, steadier increase, which is still great that it's heading in that direction. But yeah, let's not get carried away too much with this massive jump from December to January, other than to see that's we're seeing the numbers that are giving stats to back up the fact that we're seeing a real sort of confidence from buyers jumping into the market at the start of this year.
I mean, no question of that. I think touching on sort of national stats again for a moment, Phil, before we move on to our stats locally, buyer inquiries in that sort of post-Christmas bounce jumped by 57%, and new listings surged by 81% in the post-Christmas bounce.
Huge amount. So yeah, in that 2-week period following Christmas, it is traditionally again a time where you see new houses coming to the market, but the fact that new listings have gone up 81%, so that's people selling their houses. But if people are selling their houses, usually they're then buying their next house. So that's why we're also then seeing new buyer inquiries jumping up 57%. Lots of activity with selling and buying we're seeing in the stats coming through. Really exciting to see coming into this new year.
Yeah, it feels like it's been busy. You know, anecdotally we feel busy, but what we wanted to do was look at our exact numbers in what we've done so far this year at Stories. So for those of you who are watching, you will know we cover the mid to higher end market around Tarpley, Northwich, sort of Chester, Frodsham, this kind of area of the northwest. And so far this year, bearing in mind we've only been back for just over 2 weeks, we've booked 34 valuations, and we only sell mid to higher end homes, so they are 34 valuations on lovely mid to higher end properties. We've had 19 offers, we've had 128 viewings booked in just over 2 weeks, and we've agreed 8 sales already.
Indeed, it's been busy. If we think, like we say, those 34 valuations booked on mid to higher end homes, that's roughly, colloquially, we're talking anything from sort of 500,000. And I know you've been to a few recently, they're in the multi-millions.
Yeah.
So there's lots of higher end homes that are also looking at getting their property into the market at the moment.
Yeah.
With the offers and the sales agreed, it's been busy. Does that 8 sales agreed, does that include the one that I did last night as well, Ian? Is that on there when you were doing the stats?
That was on there, Phil, yeah.
Okay, very good. phone, just making sure it's all up to date, because that's how busy it's been. Even later on into yesterday evening, we were agreeing sales because it's been a busy time. This was a property that had 3 competing bids on it. Again, not something you were sort of seeing too much towards the end of last year, and that's a real sign that there's serious buyers out there looking. These were 3 competing bids from people who were all chain free as well, which is a fantastic position for our sellers to be in, that there's this much activity from buyers in the market. So yeah, really good to see.
Really good. Yeah.
I know
really
there'll
good.
be larger agencies by volume out there in terms of the amount of numbers that they do, but for the quality type of homes that we do, we're seeing these are big numbers for these first 2.5 weeks, aren't they?
They really are. Yeah, it's been very, very, very good start to the year. Again, let's not get too carried away and bring things back to reality slightly, which is that the latest Rightmove stats show that there are more homes for sale now than any January since 2014. So yes, we've seen sales, offers, new valuations booked, lots and lots of viewings, but there is competition. There is still stiff competition. So more homes for sale right now than at any January in the last 12 years. Also, around 1 in 3 properties that are already on the market have had a price reduction. So that really shows that there's a lot of overpricing still going on.
Indeed.
And you've really got to be careful, haven't you, when you're putting your home on the market?
That's it. We can talk about all these new buyers looking, and the numbers are there for that. But what these new buyers are looking at are the largest number of properties out there.
Yeah.
Demand's high, but supply's also high right now.
Yeah.
Like you say, the most homes for sale right now in any January in the last 12 years. So lots of properties on the market. Lots of them are getting their interest in things as well. But you do have a lot of competition, and that's why one in 3 properties on the market already having had a price reduction. That gives a real sign that you do have to be competitive with your pricing. Just because there's lots of buyer interest doesn't mean you can be sort of overly optimistic with your pricing. It can be ambitious, but it needs to be fair. Otherwise, people will look at other things because they've got so much choice right now.
Yeah, you know, you're selling. For 99% of people who are selling their home, you are selling your home in competition, not in isolation. So we have lovely, lovely properties that we sell. And you could potentially assume that yours is a one-off property and therefore you're selling in isolation, but you're not. Most people, you're selling in competition. We have properties at the higher end that have multiple viewings on them, you know, and not necessarily multiple offers. So those people are going and buying other things. So you've really got to consider that whenever you're selling, and generally speaking, whatever your property is like, you've got to consider you're selling it in competition with other properties and with other sellers.
Indeed. Coming back round to the buyer side of things now, we've talked about why that there's been lots of new inquiries. There's lots of new buyers out there. Part of the reason for this, as well as sort of people having waited from the end of last year, is that affordability has got better. Mortgage rates have had sort of quite a reassuring sort of slight downward trend in terms of interest rates over the last 12 months, over a little while. And right now, the average 2-year fixed rate is at 4.29%, and this is the lowest it's been since the 2022 mini budget, Liz Truss, Kwasi Kwarteng, and all of that. So this is the lowest it's been since then, which is really reassuring for buyers. Typically, a mover with a 20% deposit they're saving over £100 a month compared to this time last year, which is huge amounts of money, as we all know, compared to cost of living. If you're saving £100 a month compared to this time last year, that's huge for buyers out there, and it's giving them that confidence to enter the market, to find their next home if they've been perhaps holding off to wait for sort of economic things to settle down. They have been, and that's why we're seeing this new interest from buyers, I would say. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. No question of that. And then there's also talk that we think there will be at least another 1 interest rate reduction this year, maybe 2. Obviously, that's all good. That all helps the market if that comes along. It was also interesting, Phil, to note that all levels of the market have seen price growth this month. So it's not just the lower end, it's not just the higher end, every single level. So the first time buyer level, second stepper level, and homes at the top of the ladder have actually risen by 2.6%. So it tells us that it's not just one group that's growing the market. It's every level, which is great to see because you need every level moving, don't you?
Indeed, yes. After the last update that we did, sort of post-budget, heading into the winter time, I had a couple of questions about things I'd discussed in terms of the first step of the market, the mid step of the market, and the top end of the market. And at the time, there were perhaps some, I wouldn't say concerns, but there was some sort of interest about what was going to happen to the top end of the market, given some extra taxation that had been brought in the post-budget. But actually, seeing that, homes at the top end of the ladder have risen by around 2.6%, in line with a national average increase of 2.8%. So that it's showing that all parts of the market are moving. It's not just the bottom, it's not the middle, it's not just the top. Everything is moving well at the moment. They've all seen price growth across the market, rather than just in sort of set groups and things, which is really good to see, rather than just certain homes in isolation, that everything is growing.
Really good to see, that you sort of can't even, the budget doesn't really enter our vocabulary now, does it, when we're talking to buyers and sellers? It doesn't really get spoken about.
Exactly.
We have homes, we have a couple at the minute, sort of around the 2 million mark, and it hasn't stopped interest. We have good interest on the majority of properties, which is great to see. So what does it mean for homeowners this year, Phil? With the market started strong, what do people need to consider if they're selling or buying?
Well, yes, it's a lot of the same things we've talked about before, really. Given that there is lots of properties available on the market at the moment, and therefore there's competition, as Ian discussed, you need to make sure that your home is marketed really well if you're looking to sell. It needs to have fantastic presentation. It needs to be priced accurately. Again, if you're overly ambitious with the pricing, then that's going to be more expensive for you in the long run. Make sure you get sound advice about the pricing so that you're not sat above your competition. You need to be in the fight, making sure people are looking at your home, and then people will look at your home because there's lots of buyers out there at the moment, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's presentation, it's pricing. And if you take on good advice from a good agent that's getting the right results in your area, as we've seen from our update today, there's plenty of buyers and there's no reason you can't achieve a sale at a good price and move on to the next stage of your life in 2026.
Indeed, it's looking really positive heading into the spring, and if you want to see how this interest has developed in the market over the next month, make sure to check back next time.
Thanks very much for watching.
Thanks.
Bye.